So
Yeah.
the administrative question, if we could call it, my experience is that I start downloading, or I like paper, so I print things in Spanish, and then the quizzes, right, is going to be in English. For me, that slowed me down a little bit. So it's a learning I want to share. I decided then to throw that away and print everything in English. The class is in English. So it helped me a lot. When I start doing this, I'm like, oh my God, I wasted this time, because then I could not be battling with the language back and forth. So I just share that in case it's a help for anybody. And then one question about the materials. I know that we have the models with the notes, and then we have the solutions, like an assignment with the solutions. Um, and the question about the textbooks that you already answered, because one of the examples says, see it in the textbook. So I think already it's answered. With this material is way enough to comprehend the material. So I just wanted to share my
Thank
experience
you
with the
so much for that.
distribution and the language.
Thank you so much. Yes, very good, very good. And in terms, again, if you have problems with the language, just let me know. Unfortunately, uh, I the quiz questions, like I say, in the future I'll put it in Spanish too. But honestly, all I'm doing is putting them in Google Translate. So, or in you can put it in ChatGPT too, and try that to translate. It shouldn't give you an answer, but well, no,
I
maybe it'll
think
give you an answer.
I think most of the thing is like maybe in Spanish it's just to understand the material, but then in English, to know the term, because it's different. So I mean,
Yeah.
like even though that we are reading in Spanish, and then when we read the answer is in English, and then I mean, uh, like the
But sometimes my answers are in Spanish, right? And the tareas is in Spanish.
yeah, yeah, but the name, like
The terms.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, the terms. So I mean, like you need to go back to Spanish to look for this term, and then to learn that this term is called this way in English, right? So that's the thing that Alice is saying, which I feel like identify as well. I mean, like it took long time on the model two, because I mean, I prefer to study in Spanish because it's the language that I understand.
Yeah.
Um, but then
Yeah.
I know like the courses in English, and then we also have the notes in English as well, and then the quizzes or the homeworks or assignments are also in English.
Yeah, the
So
homeworks are in English.
I kind of started already, everything in English. But
Okay.
again, sometimes I get lost, and it's not that I don't understand, but just the
Transition.
yeah, the transition exactly is, yeah, it takes a long time.
What was I gonna say? Oh, are you watching the videos in English then? You're not putting the Spanish translation, just the English captions. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you
like,
can put the
how
Spanish
deep?
translation, but I think you know enough English that you can follow and rewind and watch the captions in English. Anyway, hopefully just keep me giving me feedback about it. I don't want language to be a barrier at all, you know. So
I think
hopefully.
sorry, Professor, that I think that the message and the learning for everybody is like, in my case, stick to one language. I'm sticking, if I'm doing everything in Spanish and review everything in Spanish, I'll do that. It seems it's not the best idea, because then
With the
everything is going to be
timeline.
tested on the
Yeah.
video. So my recommendation, and it's me, it's like I actually scrap everything. I'm going to do everything in English. So I don't waste time. My brain doesn't waste time on that, because there's a lot to learn. So it's just a recommendation for everybody else, if
Thank
you
you.
feel comfortable. But definitely what you're saying, there's tools to translate.
Yeah, we're on a
I think
tight
that would have
timeline
helped me.
in a course, it's 12 weeks. And actually we got
Right.
spread out a little bit more just because of holidays and things. So it's actually working in our favor to give us a little more time to absorb material. Okay, so let's see what kind of questions people have. Someone posted and I never saw it. I don't get alerts, unfortunately. Again, this is like a new Moodle version, and some defaults are different. So I have to reset things, and I didn't get the message, but I only got one message in the forum. I should be checking the forum more regularly. I've just been away a lot.
Yeah, I think it was mine, and it was between the block and multi-range. I struggle a little bit, like just to
That's
identify
common.
the differences. So I wanted to re-review that point just to make sure that I have all the clarifications in
Yeah,
place.
that's
Because when I was doing the quiz, I selected multi-range instead of block, and I just couldn't like find the
exactly.
reasoning.
Exactly. No, I get it. And that's a very common question. Okay, so I'm going to go to module 2. I'm going to share my screen and just show she put it in the forum, and I forced the forum, and then I didn't even look at it. So I apologize for that.
No worries. I also didn't know if it was working or not
Yeah,
because it was
it
my
wasn't,
first time.
it worked. It's here, but it didn't
Okay.
it didn't warn me. It didn't notify me. So I need to like I said, the default was to notify me, and I guess it unset it. Let
Okay.
me just make a note. Okay, so it's the question about, let's be specific here. Matched pairs. I understand matched pairs is a type of block design, but I'm confused on when to tell which one is which. Is matched pairs only used when we have two different treatments to apply? Okay, all right, so the question is very specific. You're like, how is it a block design? I think that's the question, right? How is it a block? What makes it a block design? The feature of the block design that you need to remember is that each block gets all treatments. That is the point. Each block gets all treatment. In the match pairs, it's very extreme because it's the same person or the same plot of land is getting both treatments, which is weird that you can't do that with every kind of subject matter. But when I explained the Pepsi and Coke commercial, or the kioscos that tested people for whether they preferred Pepsi or Coke, the person was acting like the block, and they got both Pepsi and Coke. Does that make more sense? Then in the experiment with the drugs for cancer, the group called woman was getting all of the treatments, the old treatment, the new treatment, and the control. And the men were getting all the treatments. Okay, so that's how it's the same. That's how it's a block. So you said only use when you have two different. It's not about the being two treatments. It's about each block getting all the treatments, however you define block.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So that's good. All right. Let's see.
Professor, I also have the same question regarding to the type of experiments, because browsing to the materials, I know that in module 2, that's from the module 2, right? That when there were some questions on about when you were trying to do the question of the exercise, and it asked what type of experiment it is. The options were randomized block, randomized comparative experiment, and matched pair. And I couldn't identify specific.
Wait, which question is it? Tell me.
Is the question of the model 2
Quiz
assignment.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You see, let me just show you this Moodle. Look how the font is not bold, and then here is just, it's not bold and it's bold. The things like that I have to fix in the conversion. Anyway, sorry. I'm so distracted by the aesthetic. Okay, and
it's okay. So it's in the assignment, the model 2 practice exercises.
I'll go to the solution. Oh, I guess
there,
the question.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So in those, yes, and that one. So it says, for example, experiment. What's the type of the experiment? So that question is through all the exercise, and the answers are randomized block, randomized comparative experiment, and matched pair design. Nevertheless, like my peer, I wasn't able to identify a specific definition for the type of experiment, like the randomized comparative experiment versus the matched pair versus the randomized block, which are the type of experiments in the assignment. I don't know if someone else had the same doubt.
Mhm.
I had the same. Yeah, because I couldn't identify.
There in the answers, you see that, yeah, there you go. It says that it's a randomized block experiment.
Mhm.
And in that case, which I understand the treatment, because all the subjects will have the same treatment,
Yeah.
right? That's what it makes
Well,
it a block.
all the blocks get all the treatments.
So the
So
other
the
way
block
around,
was
right?
mujer, so they get all the treatments. The
All
block
the
was
treatments,
hombre, they get all the treatments. That's
all
how
the
you
treatment.
know it's a block. And your confusion is very common until it, you have a breakthrough. It's very common that it's unclear what is the difference. So what you have here, if I covered this here, wait, sorry. If I just look here, this here, and can you see my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's just that here is a randomized design. But when I do it twice, it's a block because there's two repeated but with different groups. So that's randomized. That's a block. And then what's the other one that you mentioned?
The randomized comparative, comparative experiment.
Oh, randomized comparative. Yeah, so this is randomized comparative here. Randomized.
Okay.
And then
if
this,
you scroll, I think,
if you have two of them repeated but with different groups, that's a block. And then scroll, you said?
If you scroll to other in the other exercise that asks again the type of experiment, that's not the case. I think it's lower down that it says that the answer is randomized comparative experiment.
This one?
There you go. Yeah, the one with the juice. So I wanted to understand the terminology of the comparative experiment part versus the randomized. They're both randomized, right? But one is block and the other one was comparative. So I was trying to figure out what's the difference.
Just think the block is like so the block is randomized within the blocks. And then you have one block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. So a block is just repeated, like copy and paste, but with different groups. So it's randomized inside the block. That's how they relate.
Okay.
And that's it. And as you know that, you're going to start seeing it now better, that this is just randomized inside one block and then randomized comparative in another block. But the blocks, now the definition of the blocks is also interesting because I don't randomize people to blocks. Okay. The randomization occurs inside the block. Like you don't get to randomize, you're a woman, you're a man. It's you're a woman, you're a man. Like you're identified woman, you identify man. So that's important to know. That's a second kind of thing you have to understand about the blocking. The blocking is like a natural phenomenon. It's not randomized. It's like you categorize into a block.
And then the comparative, the other one is comparative because it doesn't have different blocks. It's just one group.
It hasn't singled out a categorization. So why do we do blocking? That's another big issue. Why do we do blocking? We do blocking because if we don't do blocking, we risk losing one of the groups. This forces women to be in the study and forces just as many, about the same amount of men in the study. And we separately analyze them because if we didn't, we risk, because we're randomizing, maybe it's only women in there. Then we don't have any representation of men. So we do it to get the representation or at a lower cost. I think that was the argument, really. Everything we do here, like, okay, what I've described to you is a very superficial understanding of design. But in fact, when you go deeper and you take higher level courses in experimental design, you always have to include a variable C for cost. Everything we do has a cost. And you need to, you want to sample size with cost in mind. Anyway, that's not going to appear here at all, but just saying that you can read some of my answers regarding this is the most efficient way. Because what if you sampled from a group of patients and you ended up with a sample with all men? Let's say you had to sample, in this case, how many did they have? They have like almost 100. So let's say you have to get 100. And by coincidence, by just random, randomly, let's say we did it properly, but we end up with 100, 99 men and there's no women. Now we have to go back, find some more money and get some more people to get the women represented. That's inefficient and costly. It's better to just study them separate. That's the logic there. Okay, what else? Tell me more. So that's a common problem, understanding the difference, or just basically what is a block. That's the thing. And then, okay, so tell me more. What else do you want to look at? What other questions you have? Let me check, Eliane. Let me check the chat too.
Hey, good morning, Professor. I don't know if we're skipping already to chapter 3 or module 3, because my question is from there.
No, it's fine. No, we didn't. Is everybody okay with module 2, or do you want to just go back and forth? Because I can just jump around.
I think in one of the quizzes, some answers between the multi-stage and the stratify, like the difference.
Okay, let's do that, and then we'll go to 3. Okay, so in the quizzes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the 2.1 or 2.2. I'm not sure yet.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
see.
So even though the quizzes have all the questions on one page, when you do the quiz at 11, it's going to be one question per
There you
page.
have it. Then the number 4.
Number 4. Okay. Okay, so proportional representation.
Proportional, exactly. Yeah.
Proportional representation, what does it mean? It means that you want, okay, so with respect to a survey, that's another key word here, because blocking is a terminology used for experiments. But in surveys, the term we refer to is stratified. Okay, that's proportional. Now, why is it not multi-stage? Multi-stage, so stratified sampling ensures proportional representation in surveys. Block design ensures proportional representation in experiments. Multi-stage is another issue. If you pick multi-stage here, that's also a common mistake or misunderstanding that obviously, if you understand this, you're coming to a higher level of understanding of what's going on. Multi-stage resolves a different kind of problem. It's not about representation so much. If you remember the video, it described that, or maybe you didn't get there.
I mean, like I only got until the definition or explanation of stratification, which is like the separation, but like the multi-stage is also a separation, or?
So multi-stage, so it's going to be in the lectures. I go step by step, but the idea of multi-stage is, okay, I want to study, for instance, I want to study vegetables, fresh vegetables in Puerto Rico and households. So what's the proportion of households that consume fresh vegetables in a week, right? Or what's the amount of fresh vegetables consumed by a household in Puerto Rico in a week? Okay, so that's a huge enterprise. Where do I start? If I want to try and survey people in a representative way, I can't just, go to Blasa and start asking questions. I'll get a survey, but it's not accurate. It's not going to be so accurate. Let's say we have some money to analyze this with the US Census Bureau. So we have money to do this survey, but we have to design the survey in a way so that it's representative for the urban. So 2/3 of people live in San Juan, right? 2 million out of 1 million, but you have the whole rest of the population there. And even though more people live in San Juan, and you want to know about them, you still want to know about the people outside. So if you went to Plaza Las Americas and started surveying people, they're mostly going to be from San Juan. You're going to miss them, right? So the stratification idea is that we sample from every region. We do a random sample from each region. And that's how it's a kind of a block. But multi-stage tackles a different issue. It tackles the issue of, I don't want to just go to Plaza and survey random people. I really want to represent San Juan, or I really want to represent Puerto Rico. So what you have to do, because it's hard to locate people because people move, people change their phone number, it's hard to identify them. So if you want to make what's called like a probability, collect a probability sample, you need to define the frame by labeling all the individuals that you're going to sample from. Remember the labeling. How are you going to label if you don't have all the phone numbers or all the names of everybody in San Juan? It's not realistic to have a list like that anywhere. Maybe for the election they have that, but even there, you're not. It's only done every 4 years that they bother to do that, and I mean we want to get a sample that's accurate today. So instead of going and making a list of every single person in San Juan or in Puerto Rico, 3.2 million, including adults and children, if we want to do households, maybe there's a million households in Puerto Rico. We need to get an address. How are we going to make a list of addresses? People move, people travel. So instead of that, what we do is go by stages. Rather than going for the house or the address, we go first from municipality. 78 municipalities. And let's say we want to take a sample of municipalities. So we randomize the municipalities. We're not going to specifically focus on San Juan and Puerto Rico. So we put labels. 1, 2, 3, 4, Arecibo, Aguadilla. Everybody gets a label, and then we sample. So we sample 10 from there. Once we get the 10, we make a new list. For the 10, we list, let's say, the barrios, or however you guys call the neighborhoods. And we go, so we go in San Juan, we start listing. If San Juan is in our is among the municipalities, we start labeling San Juan, Atorrey, Guaynabo, whatever we make, and we put numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we sample in there. Once we sample for the municipalities in each of the different regions, not municipalities, sorry, whatever we call those, neighborhoods, the neighborhoods in each of those larger municipalities, because San Juan has, in the Metro San Juan, right, you have all those, Bayamon, whatever. So then you sample from there, and with the ones you've chosen, now you go for the communities, and you start with different communities in each of those. And then within those communities, then with the ones that you've chosen, then you go and you find the addresses. You don't find the address for 1 million households in Puerto Rico. You go down through stages, okay? So the problem that you're resolving is the issue that you don't have an available list of all people or households in a region to conduct a representative survey. So that's why you use multi-stage. That's different than the idea that you want representation from the urban, suburban, or rural communities. And that's stratification. Did I explain it better, or is that clear, or no?
Yeah, I kind of.
So basically, it's a problem is I don't have a list.
Exactly.
And you can do them together. You can do stratification. You can say, okay, whatever we're going to do, we want to study San Juan.
Yeah.
Then we want to study outside of San Juan. That's my stratification. So I'm going to do San Juan because so many people are there, but then I'm going to sample from all the other municipalities. You could divide even there, stratify them by more urban and rural. So Ponce and Mayagüez and I don't know, bigger towns could be sampled, and then really small communities can be sampled. You can have 3. So San Juan urban, and then more suburban like Mayagüez, Ponce, whatever. And then rural would be San Germán. I don't know, San Germán. I don't know. I don't know the small area, small little towns, Utuados, smaller. and they get separated. So that's stratification. But then we start with the multi-stage. Within San Juan, we go step by step. We don't ask for a complete list of households and phone numbers of everybody in San Juan. That's 2 million people, or almost 1 million households. It's too.
But
We're
then
not
we
going to
cannot
get an
use,
accurate list. We
but
won't
then
be
we
able
can,
to make a list and label. That's the problem.
but then we cannot use the SRS.
And we can't use the SRS. That's right, because we can't label. That's
We
right.
can label.
We
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
label. If we can't label, then we have to think, oh, let's do the
Mm,
stages. That's the idea. And you got it.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's related but different, and you can do them together, but it's the labeling problem that's resolved with the multi-stage.
All right. I got
So
that.
that's not the answer. So that's why this one is the answer.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
block design is not the answer. Block, because it's going to say survey here,
This is the
not
survey, exactly.
experiment. If
Right.
it said the same thing but experiment, then you pick block.
Survey and okay.
Okay. More.
So
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. In survey, block design is the stratified, and the stratified in survey is the block design.
No. Stratified in survey. No, sorry. Stratified in survey, but block design and experiment. That's the point.
Block
It's the
design.
same. Yeah.
Yeah,
These are the same idea about proportional representation. That's what you're trying to say. They're both
Exactly.
proportional, but this one is the word. Like, the vocabulary it can be confusing, but this is the vocabulary for surveys, and this is the vocabulary for experiment.
There was a confusion. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Anything else in module 2? It could be a lot of things. I mean, don't feel shy to ask. This is the time to ask. What I could also do, if you guys feel like maybe you want another chance, what I can do next week is I can also make some questions, or like that we can go back. Maybe I can make some more questions about unit 2 and 3. Anyway, I'll think about it. It might be confusing. You need to focus on unit 3 this week. Let me see this week is module, what am I saying? Module 4 this week. So what I can do for this quiz is maybe just put a couple more questions back from module 3 as well. So we're going to study, so you can still keep studying, or, whatever, impress me with your knowledge of GDS or module 3 in module 4. But yeah, we have 1 week. Next week, I didn't realize I am flying at the time of the class. So we're going to have to work on using the forum this week. Okay. Like, this is the only class I messed up because, anyway, I can't meet you because I'll be flying. Otherwise, if I was somewhere else, it'd be fine because I could just virtually have a meeting, but I'll be in the plane, so it won't work. So let's work with the forum this week, and you guys can post your questions, and I will check it all the time and answer between here and here. All right. So what I'm trying to say to you is I'm thinking to maybe ask a few questions of the module before, but I don't want to. They'd have to be optional. Maybe what I'll do is I can put 2 quizzes. I can open something in case people still want to do the GDS one. Because time is tight, like you said. Anyway, how do you think about that? So I would use the half an hour for the module 4 quiz, but then have another one in case people want to go back. We'll leave it optional. Keep you guys studying because all this material is important. The most you're going to need the knowledge of GDS. You're going to need the knowledge of DNS. Not so much, but normal distribution is probably the most important module. We're going to use it to the end. So this is a really important one. So there's going to be enough in there for you. What I'm going to do, I said I wanted to show you was the calculator for GDS, but are there any more questions about module 2 right now?
I do have one from the sample exercises that you gave us.
The homework?
I don't remember how it's called, but it's the
Okay.
one that it says design of experiments and sampling, and then it has I think it's 15 questions. But I believe it's the homework.
Okay.
And it is the I know I saw this video like 3 times and I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It's about the plots and then dividing into pairs. I just got confused, like why do we divide like
Okay.
subjectively in 20 plots and then into pairs,
Okay, that
into
was
10 pairs?
okay, so that was like a blocking thing, right? And that was that was a question in here? Or was it a question?
No, it's in the other one, tarea de práctica.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
With the
I
no,
think it's
sorry, it's in the
question,
okay.
yeah, and it's
Sorry.
question 15,
Yes,
Professor.
question 15. Sorry about that. I get them confused. I have them print them, and I
It's
guess
okay.
I
I
don't
know
have the name.
I dumped a lot of material on you guys. All right, so this one, right.
Yes.
All right. So this is another one people have issues with. Okay, a researcher wishes to compare the effects of two fertilizers, A and B, on the yield of a soybean crop. She has 20 plots of land available and she decides to use match pairs design using 10 pairs. All right. Remember this example of the Coke and Pepsi. I don't know if that helps, but it's just because it's so much from my past that I don't forget the experience of watching those, and then the impact of realizing that's actually an experiment, having all the design features. So the other classic example is plots of land that are receiving, because you want in agriculture, you know, there's many variables that influence the yield. One is the soil, the water, well, soil nutrients, those will be together, then water, and then air and sunlight. So all of those things so air is important, right, that it receives enough. Anyway, that's not in the problem, but basically those are the features, those are the variables, the main variables that go into yield, producing yield. And so you want to divide those plots, but they have to be side by side so they have the same environmental conditions. So that's the idea. So but you got to divide them in a way that they don't mix. So I don't know if I'm explaining that, but I imagine putting, you know, a deep steel sheet between them so you can split them. But because otherwise they would be confounded, right? Because any fertilizer that you put on one will seep into the plot of the other. So imagine them being divided in a strategic way that they have, or they could be also in raised beds. They could be raised beds that are plotted, or they have the soil and they have otherwise the same environmental conditions and timing of watering. All right, so the question is how we're going to do this. Remember what I said about the blocks earlier. What defines the blocks, or how do we know if a subject falls into a block?
You're getting both treatments
Well, it's
or
getting
all treatment,
okay,
all
so
the
that's
treatments.
yeah, so one feature is the block is going to get all the treatments, but the block itself is to be a block is not a okay, I'm trying to think. In the matched pairs, I guess.
So there's
But let me
no
read them.
option.
Let me read them. Let me go step by step. Okay, use a table of random numbers to divide the 20 plots into 10 pairs. And then for each pair, flip a coin. So remember, the pairing has to be done because they're close together. When you're dividing in a block design, men and women, women are women and men are men. Let's just say that's obvious to make that happen. Okay, now what is it saying here? It's saying that to use random digits to divide them. You don't want to do that because you ignore the fact that, well, what if this plot is here and that one's over there? No. So it's not randomized. That's the point I'm making. It has to be done by observation, subjectively. You look at it and you decide. So that's why the word subjective is used. Subjectively divide the 20 plots into 20, and then I put in brackets, making the plots within a pair as similar as possible. So they have to be subject. In this case, just to the same elements. They need to be close together, really, is the way to describe. And then for each pair, flip a coin to assign fertilizer to the 2 plots. So you have the pairs. One gets 1 fertilizer, the other one gets a second. And they're separated in a way that they have unique response only to the fertilizer, because otherwise they have all the same exposures to the elements. That's why that's the right answer. Let's read the other ones, though, to rule them out. Let's see what's wrong with C. Use a table of random numbers to divide the 20 plots into 10 pairs. What's wrong with that? You don't do that,
We're
right?
ignoring the factors of like having the same conditions. And
Find the same, exactly. So we need to do
Okay.
that subjectively. We don't leave it to random. Flip a coin to divide. So is this any good? The 20 plots into that's just as bad, right? As randomizing. You're not going to flip a coin. And then E, use a table of random numbers to assign the 2 fertilizers to the 20 plots, and then use the table of random numbers a second time to place the plots into 10 pairs. No, because the fertilizers have to be randomized in the block. So that's not correct. So that, again, assigning blocks needs to be subjective or determined, not in a random way. You're either a man or a woman. It's not random. You're either, beside each other, and you're next to each other, and you're a candidate for a pair, or you're far apart and you're not. So that's only a person can determine that, or some sophisticated AI. All these notes were made without the presence of AI in the background, but you can see that could be useful too.
I think we have this like in one of the quizzes we have one of the questions with the same subject. I think it's the 2.3, the quiz 2.3, the
Oh,
fourth.
the same topic.
Yeah, with the same topic, but this one is block.
Okay, tweet 2.3.
Yeah, 2.3, the fourth question.
Okay. So what did we finish with the last one? Is everybody better about that?
yeah, once you explain the subjectively
What it
part
means,
of what,
subjective.
yeah, that made a lot of sense. And it was like, oh, okay, I can do the distinguishing now. Thank you.
It's incredible how there's keywords and vocabulary
Yeah.
that I will do my best to clarify, because as a student, I was the same. What are they talking about? Okay, let's go back here. All right, you are going to run a field experiment to investigate the effects of 4 fertilizers on the yield of wheat. You have 40 plots of land available and you wish to run a block design. Okay, so it's very wordy. That's another problem. And if English is not your strongest suit, it can be. That's what also is a barrier here. But I'll tell you, even English speaking students get confused because it's just a lot of words. So we need to separate what's here. So put the 40 plots of land into 10 blocks of 4. So 4 plots, because we have 4 fertilizers. So we know we have 4 factors, or 4 not factor, because fertilizer is a factor, but these are like the 4
the treatment.
treatments. Yeah, exactly.
Treatment.
So these are the 4 treatments that they're going to get. So this has to be something about 4 plots in each block. So that seems correct. But then
this one is correct. Yeah.
with the 4 plots within a block being as similar as possible, and then randomly assign the 4 fertilizers to the 4 plots within. So anyway, the right answer is the first one, but let's go through the rest and see why they're wrong. Put the 40 plots of land into 4 blocks of 10 plots each. Okay, so that's the same. With the 10 plots within a block being as similar as possible. Oh no, it's backwards. Sorry, it's backwards. 4 blocks of 10 plots. So that's not correct, right? We need only 4 because those are the treatments. With the 10 plots within a block being as similar as possible now. So anyway, we're not going to read that one anymore. Let's read another one. Oh, they're all like that though. Randomly put the 40 plots of land into 10 blocks of 4 plots each. Okay, so that's back to like the first one. And then randomly assign the 4 fertilizers to the 4 plots within each block. Uh-oh, isn't that the same?
The issue there is that you're randomly assigning the 40 plots and then you're
Oh, this word.
ignoring the fact that they
Yeah,
have to be
exactly. That
similar.
word.
See, you guys are
Exactly.
even better than me at this now. Okay,
Yeah.
so randomly put the 40 plots of land. Yeah, not randomly. Put the 40 plots. Yeah, the word randomly is off.
Yeah, it's off.
The
Exactly.
one thing that's correct here is it's 40 plots of 10 blocks with 4 plots each. That's correct. Randomly assign the 4 fertilizers to 40 plots, and that's incorrect, right? The blocks here, 4 blocks of 10. Again, the plots are 4 because there's 4 fertilizers or treatments, so that's not right. And then finally, randomly put the 40 plots of land into 4 blocks of 10 plots each. So these ones, most of them are ruled out because it's using 4 blocks rather than 10. Okay, so how would you know how to do this from the top? From the top, you see 4 treatments, so you know that the block has to have at least 4 for the treatments. It might have 1 control. It could have been 5, but they don't have a control group here. Why don't they have a control group here? When do we use the control group?
The subjects are human.
Say it again.
When the subjects are human.
When the subjects are human, right? So if the subjects are human, you'd also have to have not just your treatments, but a control. Even with something like this, sometimes they might call one, like if A was an old fertilizer, and then these are all new fertilizers, sometimes they can refer to the original fertilizer, and then, new treatments, but sometimes you might, I don't know if you guys will run into it where it's a non-human trial and they might mention control, but it's used in a different way. It's not for human trials. The idea of the control group and the placebo effect is exclusive to human consciousness. It doesn't extend to plants. Although plants, they're pretty smart. Okay, are we good with this one? Anybody else there? I don't see any hands. Let's see the participation. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I spent like 10 minutes in this question, but at the end I got it right.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. It was a long question for me.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go to module 3. I'm intrigued.
Okay, module. Did you want to see the third one? No, you're
No.
done. Okay, so
Yeah,
let's
I'm
go to
done.
module
Module
3.
3.
Yes, so we have 1 hour. We're gonna do module 3. I left.
Maybe you're gonna explain the step and leaf.
Yeah, I can do the stem and leaf. Yeah, tell me what you need me to do. So stem and leaf.
I mean, like in general, because I had to go to other videos to try to understand the structure of it. And
Okay.
since you didn't put the class on the side or like the interval in this case is from 0 to 4, which is 5 digits.
Uh-huh. Where are you looking? Sorry, what are you looking?
Wait, because I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Looking for it. It's like on the distribution, like the
Okay, let me go down.
yeah. So it'll be on the 3rd module. Sample problems, I think. Or let me see. Sample problem. No, not that one. The graphical representation, this one. Yeah, exactly.
In the notes.
Yeah, that one. Exactly. So we know there you put the data, the unit that we're gonna observe, which is in
Yeah.
250 in span, but then on the split steepen leaf, to explain that way how to extract the data, you didn't put the class, which you were using interval of 5 digits.
Right. Okay, so in the instruction, so what I do here is I describe making a split stem and leaf plot. A split stem, so usually we refer to a stem and leaf plot, and we go by natural division of 10 numbers or 10 units per class to divide the, so the goal is to represent the data by its pattern of regularity and separate that from the curiosities or strange things in the data. That's our goal. So by putting numbers together in a class, what we're saying is these numbers are similar. So we decide to do this in a split way rather than going by 10. I go by classes of 5. Okay, let me pull this up in my pad and I'll show you.
So yeah, my question is um like why did you choose interval of 5 in the class and not
I explained that. I know you didn't get to the videos, but
Oh no, I mean I saw that video
uh-huh.
and I mean like you did explain like you could also go from 00 to 02 and from 04 and so on.
Uh-huh.
But in this one, I know like to get a better graphic maybe or I
Well,
don't-
the issue was, let me see if I can get it up. Actually, let me show you here and then I can go more detailed. So here in this document,
no, I think it's in the conference. Okay, there you go.
yeah, so this is another document. There were 2 documents. There was the lecture notes and then this set of problems that with solutions. And I think I put it, oh no, it's all here. Okay, so here I explain this spending data.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So this is really the answer here. So because I present several different data sets, and then this is the one I describe how I made it, and I interpret it using the 5 features of the different distribution. And then I explain, because students ask, why did you do that? And why didn't you do it a different way? And I suggest that, well, you could do a different way, and you should, to verify the robustness of your analysis. In other words, looking at it a different way doesn't change your interpretation. That's like a robust analysis. But look, in this case, if I go by 5, I get a different interpretation if I go by 10 per class. So this is going for people who are still unsure. This one is going to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be 5 digits could fall in this class. But then the next one will be, no, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 5. And then the next one will start at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so they're going to have 5 possible numbers in each class with the same first digit, 0 in this case, because it's really 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, like that, 0, 4. And then these ones are 0, so that's the first digit, and then 6, 07, 08, 09, they all fall in here. But then it makes more sense when you get to the 10. So 10 falls in the next class, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the stem represents the first digit and the leaf the second digit. Here I'm going from 0 to 9. So 00 to 09, so that the first digit is the same. So they all share the same first digit. That's the idea of dividing them like that. Now, why do I choose the split is because when I look at the non-split, so the regular stem and leaf, in terms of the 5 features of the distribution, one of those features is different, and I need to make an executive decision of which one I'm going to defend or use to present in a report, let's say, or to make business decisions. In this case, it hides that there's actually a gap that we see here in the plot with going by 5 increments of 5. And when you have a gap, it's a good way to lead in and defend the fact that, well, these are different people, or this is a different phenomenon, or maybe these aren't even people. Maybe these are other maybe these are other grocery stores or restaurants or commercial businesses. So we miss that here, and it's enough for us to say, and also this is very clumpy, and it hides that there's a pattern centered, like you still have the same idea that it's centered in the $10 to $19 range. But it's showing you here that, it's more towards the higher numbers, like 15 to 19, you have a peak. So that's all hidden here. I didn't get into that too much in my description, but it's another reason not to use this one. So the only way to decide if you're doing this on your own without my instructions is to make the different stem and leaves and review the 5 features and identify any differences. If there's no differences in the 5 features, they're both equally as good. But if there is a difference, you have to specify why would you pick one over the other. And this one I picked because of the storyline. The story that this one tells could be looking at low, middle, and high grocery shoppers, or you could say this is low income, middle income, and high income grocery shoppers. Or you could say that these are individual grocery shoppers, and then these are commercial grocery shoppers. So this opens up a vantage for more research, and I can start to speculate what's going on here. I miss that phenomenon of these people being so different. Visually, it doesn't look as striking maybe as this. So that's it. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So that's kind of the way I defend it. Let me answer any other questions people have, and then I'll show you the calculator.
Elian had one from this module.
Elian. Nictor. Okay, Elian first.
Yes. So my question is from the GDS homework,
Okay.
and then if you go to scroll down right there. Yeah, module 3 GDS homework. And then question number 2, what it says, the 3 quartiles of frequency distribution, the vertical line drawings, Q1, Q2, and Q3 divide the area into. So I thought it was going to be 4 equal parts, because we know the quartiles, we have 25, 25, 25, and 25. Even though they're not equal, still split it into 4. But the answer for that one is 3. So I'm confused there.
I think it's just because I just went between Q1, Q2, and Q3. Do you know the 3 quartiles? Do you know the 3 quarters of the vertical lines drawn divide the area of the histogram? Yeah, I'm not using the whole box, basically, just the 3. But you were thinking the whole box from minimum to maximum. I didn't mention the minimum max. That's all it is.
Sure.
Hopefully it's hopefully you're not going to get caught on something like that. It's kind of like a trick because you're
Oh,
used to talking about the box all the time. But that is the interquartile range. So that's also commonly spoke about. And that's, yeah.
okay. Okay. Sounds
Q1,
great.
Q2, Q3. Oh, wait, is that 3?
That,
Q1.
I mean, that's still
It's all
50, but
Q1, Q2, Q3. Hold on. What's the answer? Is it
it
3?
says three
Three
unequal
unequal
parts.
parts, yeah.
3 unequal parts. The vertical lines, if you want to divide the area of the histogram into 3 unequal
Because
parts.
I get what you're saying. So I first thought 4, and then I was like, okay, maybe it's just the box in the middle. So it might be 2 because it's only 50, but still, there's no, it's, 2 unequal parts
1,
answer
2, 3,
there.
4. I don't know. Now I'm thinking, wait a second. 3
I
quarters.
also got confused
Divide
at
the
first.
area of the histogram into 3 unequal parts. Let me see. So it's supposed to be 3 unequal parts. 3
Oh,
unequal parts. This is a weird question now that I think about it. I'm with you on this. 3.
I also got confused, but if it is, are you guys hearing me or?
What's
yeah,
your
you
Okay.
can hear you.
I also got confused at first, because like you were saying, Elian, it's supposed to be like 25% each quartile. And then we go from 25, 15, 75. But if when we are working with the box plot, depending on the type of the skewness that it has, the median can be like Q2 can be a little closer to Q1 or can be a little closer to Q3. So it not necessarily will be like equally distributed between them. And I think that's what that question was trying to get into.
I don't know. I think we're reaching. This is really getting me now.
But it's also mentioning like it's the area of a histogram, not the area of a box
But it should be the
plot.
same. It should be the same. It should be, let me think. Okay, the lines, I think I have compassion here because this is not clear.
Yeah, but I think I do agree with Ishna because it depends of the skew of the graphic that it might not be
But when
equal.
we talk about equal, we're talking about the area, and the area should be 25, 25, 25.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So if you're analyzed trying to divide the area and the histogram into it should I think the answer should be E. I do. Is that what you picked? No, I think that makes sense.
4 equal parts?
I think equal.
Uh, I
I think
mean,
let me see my other clave. Hold on, I have another clave here. I have this other clave that I put. I don't know if you guys notice at the top. I mean, I can have mistakes, not often, but when I do, let me know. I should give extra points so students help me find them. So I thought I put it here.
In that same homework, the question 31 has 3 different box plots. And
Hmm.
when I looked at that, that's why it later made sense, that question too.
Okay,
Like,
let's
yeah,
look
it
at
can
that.
be not the same.
But this is the example that I give you for the test. If you interpret something different and you write it down, I'm willing to look at your interpretation because, oh, here it is, all homework solutions. So if you guys drew something that's reasonable, so GDS, that's not a really good answer. Q2, Q3.
I was just thinking that you count the interquartile as one. So you have from minimum to the interquartile as one, and then interquartile, Q1 and Q3, that's another one. And then from Q3 to max, that's another one. That's the only reasoning I could
Yeah, that's kind of
count.
what she did here. I
Okay.
I don't know. I think I would be willing to take that and don't worry about that. That kind of a problem is open to debate and it shouldn't be on a test, right? But sometimes
Okay.
it falls onto a test. And so if you guys argued it, I would be cool with it and give you the points if that matters. So back to this question. Let me close this. All right. I would be fine if you said 4 equal, because the equalness that you care about, you're thinking about is the area, which is the percentages, which is 25. And they
Yeah.
should be the same. But yeah, the range, or the range is different. That's what you're getting at, Kishna, is the range is different, but it's the equal area, divide the area. So I think that should be E, but so questions like that, I mean, you could argue, but unfortunately, yeah, you're gonna have to know to argue. So I would say E is fine, an answer, and I don't know why it's wrong. I'd have to go back. So, okay, anybody else? Did I confuse anyone with that? 3 quartiles of frequency.
I draw a lot of things in that one. Oh, you cannot see, but never
You drew a
mind.
lot?
I draw a lot. I was trying to figure it out. Like I was like, maybe if I take the medium out of the equation, maybe it's 3. I don't know. I did a lot on that one.
Even if I draw, it's like, but the area, even of the histogram, should be 25, 25, and 25 equal parts. All right, so I would say it's E, and I would agree with you. And everybody else trying to force it to work, I appreciate it. Thank you for trusting me, but I think it's E. All right, so Nictor had a question.
Yeah, now I have two, but the first one was with con los detalles y hoja. When when do you when one can round up the numbers and when not?
For which, oh, in general?
Yes,
Okay. Okay,
because
so
I had yo entendía que en algunos ejercicios decía no redondees y en otros como que lo dejaba a interpretación.
yeah, I have some explanation. So it's not going to be perfect.
Ujú.
But for the most part, I explained that I am going to not round intermediate calculations. I say it here, right, Nictor? Somewhere here, I talk about it. Rounding, rounding. Round off. Okay, okay. This is my rule for my notes. I'm pretty sure it works most of the time. Don't get too carried away because the original didn't have it. Let's not get confused. Okay, the rule is don't round any intermediate calculations if possible. If doing by hand, hold 2 more decimal places than there already are in the data throughout your calculations. This is just a rule so that when you're working, you can know if you did it wrong or right, because we have the same final decimals. So most of the time, don't round. If you have 2 steps or 3 steps in a problem, keep the decimals, and then at the end, if your numbers have, okay, let me put my iPad up. I'm gonna stop then. I'm gonna share my iPad. You see my iPad?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say you have a number. Yeah, so we make this calculation, right? 12.563 divided by 18.2. If that ever happens, the answer is 0.69027, like that. So my rule is 2 more decimals, then you start. So this one has 3 and this one has 1. So I have to have 5 decimal places. And that's it. So that would be my answer.
No, I mean more in when you try to graph it.
Oh, when you graph it, what do you mean?
En el tallo y hoja, usted redondeó los datos, pero es solamente ahí que uno puede hacerlo o en algún otro sitio uno podría redondear.
Okay, where are you referencing? Sorry, I'm not following. What are you referring to? Which
He's
page?
talking about in the lecture for the first stem and plot, for example, that in the
Yeah,
split stem, you're not.
Sorry for that.
yeah,
Okay, sorry
the
about that.
split, the split of
Nectar. Okay, let me do that
the-
again.
I think
So
trying
he's
to like make up. It's mostly about dividing it into the classes. So I guess we were
Yeah,
really like,
so here what happened was these were dollars, right?
exactly.
These were dollars and I rounded.
Ujú.
And okay, so this is again, you're going to follow in this class, you're going to follow my instructions. But in life or in practice, it's up to you to decide. What I see here is I decide to drop the cents because it's too much details. It's too much details. I don't need the details. If I round, so basically if I round, I get this picture and this shows me everything I need. That's my
Ujú.
logic. If I leave the decimals, and I want to incorporate them, there's some ways to do that. But now I'm going to have different stem and leaf. And I don't want to spend too much time because we don't have a lot of time on that, but basically that's the logic. If let's say I wanted to leave 1 decimal, no, I don't want to confuse you. But basically that's it, Nectar. I did it because it's too much details here and I don't need the detail. So I eliminated the detail of the decimals and just use dollars. And I get a nice picture and I can make a statement. That's my logic.
Okay. And the second question was more in general about the boxes and the queues. I was really confused in that
The
area.
boxes over here,
Yeah.
when I did the video on the boxes. Oh, the
Mm.
SKUs. Okay. This is this discussion here that I have over here, this stuff, right?
Yeah, from the trying to graph it with the box through there. I understand that Q2 is the medium, but
Yes.
apart from that, I'm lost.
Okay. So I made a video. I don't know if you got through all of them, but
Yes.
and it was confusing still.
Yeah. I don't know why my brain
It's
was
okay.
blocked.
No, it's okay. So that was here about the boxes and the skewness. Where was it? Here, symmetric or skewed. This one, symmetric or skewed. But like 5 minutes. You watch these two for oh, sorry, I gotta stop sharing. Okay, so let me share. All right, so this one, video 4 and 5.
Yes.
Yeah, so in this videos, I describe several drawings and what we can do, Nectar, I don't think this is going to be, oops, sorry, this is why you have to turn on the Brave browser. Anyway, we'll go through this commercial because I'm not going to change it now. Okay. I get no money from these ads, just letting you know. It's just, that's what YouTube did to me. All right, so in this video, I stay on the same drawing, so it's not this one. Okay, here. Okay, so we make the box plot. We start inside. Visually, this side is the same range as this side. That indicates symmetry inside the box. But then we have to compare the tails. You follow me, Victor? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here, but okay. So we use the middle box with the Q2, and we see it's the same. That's symmetric inside, but if it's not the same, so if this one is different from this one, the tail here and the tail here are different, then you see skewness, and you see the skewness on the long side. So it's right skewed. Because it's happening, so this one you understand, I think, right? This is what makes it flat. Like there's the long range means this one has the same number of points as this one has the same number of observations, but they're spread out. And that's what makes a long skewed distribution. But what happens maybe where it gets confusing is the next one. Okay. So now I have them going like this.
Mhm.
So this one is bigger than this one inside. What does that tell me? If the number line goes like from left to right, going up, it tells me this is longer, so it's skewed on the left side. It's skewed on the left side. Now we're going to go outside and compare this one and this one. They're almost the same, but a little more on the left. So I have left on the outside, I have left on the inside, it reinforces and makes it left. Let's try this one. This one is bigger inside than this one, makes it left. But on the two outside tails, this one is bigger on the right and almost the same. So even though it's like skewed on the inside, because on the outside it's skewed like that, it balances out and makes it symmetric. That's the way you compare. So this and the inside is almost the same as this on the outside, but inside it's left skewed, outside is right skewed, but se cancelan. They cancel each other out. Okay, tell me this one. Victor, you can do this one. Inside it's what? Left or right?
Right.
And on the outside? The same, no?
Yeah.
So what do we say? We say it's right skewed, slightly right skewed or right skewed because of the center, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
now do this one.
Uh,
Inside right,
inside right, outside
outside left.
left,
Which one is stronger?
outside.
Outside is stronger, slightly left because they cancel. This one cancels this one almost, but it's a little more left. That's the way you do it. Is it better?
Okay. Okay.
So you can
Yes.
go back and watch that. Okay, good. All right, so then I wanted to do the calculator, unless somebody has a pressing question. I'm going to show the calculator and make a video with you. Let me get my... Okay. All right, what I'm going to do are the numbers in the data in the notes on page. Let's do it where I describe the standard deviation. And I have a video and I show the calculator, but it's a different calculator. And I usually do this in class anyways, but students get frustrated that I don't tell them that. I hope I did, or I put a notification on the video. But here, so let's do this together. If you didn't get through the instructions on the lecture notes, you guys can see the numbers I'm on page 10 of the notes in module 3. Okay, so what I'm going to do is so you should see both my calculator and the pad. All right, so we have the numbers. N equals, so that's the sample size is 5, X, I And I didn't put it there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 observations. The first one is 2. The second one is 8. The next one is 10 and 16 and 5. And we're going to get the mean, and then we're going to get S in the calculator. So we're going to hit second data. I'll do it again. Second data. Now my data is, I have some data in there. I want to erase it. To erase the data in there, I have to hit, once I'm inside, I hit second clear work. Ahora está limpia. It doesn't have any data. And I'm going to enter. So it's asked me for X01. X01 is the first one. It's X1, right? The first one. So I'm going to put 2, enter, and scroll down. And now it asks me for Y. I don't have Y because I'm conducting what is called a univariate statistical calculation. I'm just one, or only una, right? Uno. I'm just going to do one variable analysis. So I am going to skip that with another flecha down. So the steps are number, enter, and down flecha. And I have to do another flecha to get to X2. X2 is 8. Enter, down, and down again. Then 10, enter, down, and down again. And 16, enter, down, and down again. And 5, enter, down, and down again. Does anybody want me to do that again? I can repeat.
Yes, please repeat.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's repeat. So I'm going to go second data. And there's something there. I need to clear it. So hit second, clear work, and now it's clear. So let me put that in here too. Second, clear work to clear. But you only can do it once you're already there. So what did I hit? I hit second data, right? So second data. Okay, so I start.
So wait, sorry, before
Second
you start.
data
So wait. So in the notes, where are we? Which
is 10.
yeah, I mean like in page 10 of which notes again?
Module 3. Module 3.
Um
Module 3. Got it?
no. I'm just looking through the documents.
Module
What's
3 in the
document?
notes, the lecture notes. Module 3, let me show you.
Okay, wait. Let's just to look at the notes.
There? That's
All
it.
right.
Got it?
Let's see distribution. Distribution. I think I have that one. 1, 2. Okay. Let's see. I think so. 10. Okay, yeah, got it. Sorry, guys. I
No,
was
it's
just
okay.
thank you.
Sure, thank you. Oh. All right. All right, starting over. So 2, enter, scroll down, and scroll down again. Flecha, down. Then we go with 8. So it's as though we're creating an Excel spreadsheet with our calculator going down. So 8, enter, down, and then down again. 10, enter, down and down again. 16, enter, down and down again. 5, enter, down and down again. And I'm finished with the data entry. Now I ask for the data statistics. Sorry, I asked for the statistics. So that is going to be second stat. Second stat. And I see Lin. What does Lin stand for? ¿Qué significa Lin? Linear. It's for linear, okay? Because the calculator toma dos variables, it takes two variables to conduct a linear relationship analysis, okay, between two variables. But we only used one, and anyway, the results are still going to be here for the x. So the results for the x are n is 5, scrolling down to get the results, scroll again, x bar, aha, so that's x bar, that's it, 8.2. It's x bar, that's the mean, sample mean, and we're going to go for the sample standard deviation next. And I explained this in the other video too, because the symbols are always the same. This is Sx, and the next one is sigma x. Which one do I use?
S.
S, because S is the sample standard deviation. So S is the sample standard deviation. It means that it uses the formula that looks like this. With the small n and the small variables. This case, these are all observed observations from a sample, right? These are from a sample.
Sí, sí, le va a hacer desayuno a uno, pues.
Sample data.
Pues cuando yo acabe aquí, es lo que pasa, yo acabo a las 11:30.
Yeah.
Sí, sí, no, vamos a despertarlo porque si le vas a hacer desayuno a uno, pues le hace a todo.
So, sorry. Okay, so that uses sample data. It's like that. But the other symbol, this one, is for this population standard deviation, and it uses a different formula with the population data. We don't have population data in this problem, right? We have the sample data from a sample. So we don't use this formula, which is similar, but it's with the population data. So we don't use that. So again, most of this stuff, you don't have to be making the decision. There's a system, but at some points with statistics, you have to know what you have and make the decision of what means what. So it gives you two. You're going to use this one, and this one will always be a little bit bigger. Notice even here, you see it's bigger. It will always be a little bit bigger because we want to spread across the data and represent the spread of the data we want it to be really meaningful, the standard deviation, to rather than anyway, we end up dividing by a smaller number and that than the population size, and that just makes it always a little bit bigger than this one. All right, so you can see all that discussion that I do in the videos, but basically that's how you do the calculation for the mean and the standard deviation in the calculator. And I really, like I said, I like this calculator. I moved to this one because we're gonna use the calculator to calculate linear regression results, and that will be in a few weeks. So if you learn this now, you're going to be fine for doing it later. So there's the video. You guys can review it. And let's see, what other questions you have? Does anybody need that again, or?
Yes, Professor. I'm get stuck up in the linear, like.
Scroll down, la flecha down, flecha.
So after press second and start, I need to press the
Flecha, down,
flecha.
the arrow down. You see?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you get my results? So if you don't get the results, it means you entered something wrong. The nice thing here is the data is on the sheet. It doesn't, or it doesn't disappear. Even if I clear here, está todavía ahí. You see? It's there. And I can verify my numbers. If I need to change a number, I can just overwrite it and put another number. But remember, it's entered down. It's entered down.
In my case, I get N right, I get the mean right, and then nothing else. So I'll try it again. It's just
Yeah,
I
well,
clear
just
everything.
check your numbers
It's
here.
just-
Check your numbers. Second data. Just check your
Mhm.
value. Enter 2 and 1, 8 and 1. Are you with me? 10 and 1, 16 and 1, 5 and 1. And that's it. Did you get the same?
I
Alice?
mean, I'm trying to clear everything. I still looking for N. Like it doesn't.
It doesn't show N? Second
No.
stat. Lin and N? It should come second. Lin N? No? Now
No,
you
no.
got
Yeah, because I just clear everything, and now.
if you clear everything, you have to start over. You have to
Yeah,
enter
yeah. I want
again.
no. Yeah, because I want to I want to get in the N. I just want to present the N, or just to put in the data. Which
Just put in the data. So second data, clear, second clear work, and then you begin 2, enter, down, down, 8, enter, down, down,
Okay.
10, enter. I know it's like kind of short notice, but um yeah, it's in the
Professor,
lecture videos. It's in the lecture videos. Uh-huh.
and I also found some YouTube videos as I was going through the lecture videos, like, okay, this is not the right calculator. I went to YouTube and there's a couple of short videos that can also
Yeah.
show you how to do it. So if
Yeah,
it's helpful.
but Nair, this is a way you guys would see it if you did the lecture, the conferences. It's in the conferences. It's not in the pre-recorded because it was before I changed the calculator.
Yes.
I should put it in, but I'm hoping, I'm trying not to put more in. You have so much to watch.
Yeah.
But anyway, you guys can ask me in the week if it's, if I have the wrong calculator or whatever, you can ask me and I can upload something for you too. Make sure you communicate with me in the photo this week. Okay, any other question? We have
I'll do it separately because I have done it like 30 times. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it just gives me 5. I have done it even in my cell phone, and I try the iPad if I'm doing something wrong.
Do you have the BA2 Plus?
Yeah, BA2 Plus Professional. I pay for the extra thing.
Oh no!
It says 5, 5, and then 8.2, and then SX is 475. So I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
SX is 475.
I know.
Let me see that. Let me see. Maybe
475, and then the other one is 4.64, which.
Oh, I didn't put the numbers.
But
right.
why?
Second data.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go through my numbers at 2, 8, 10. I wonder if it's Y. Maybe you have something in Y.
Yeah, it says Y1, but I didn't touch Y just like you did.
No, Y should always be 1. X is 2,
right?
And then 1. 8 and 1. 10 and 1. 16. So 16 and 1. And 5 and 1. And then second stat, 5, 8.2, 5.31. Okay, so I don't know what's going on, Alice.
Okay, now I'll figure out.
We can talk later if you can't get it. That's very frustrating. You need that. You shouldn't be making calculation from the formulas. You should be using the calculator. I mean, that's just to show you where it comes from. You need to know and understand the formula. But then after that, you should be able to use the calculator. Okay, so any more questions? I think I saw Ilian had a question. His hand was up. Yeah.
Yes, I kind of figure it out, but I just want to know why now. So in this case, Y is always 1, right? But in the weighted average, weighted standard deviation, you can change Y because it's a frequency.
Yeah.
But then here, like I will get confused because then if I get two numbers that are the same, I thought I could have just hit 2 on Y, but then my N will be wrong because I guess the calculator doesn't realize that I have more values
Yeah,
than
Eliane, that's interesting what you're saying. Yeah, you can't put the for the frequency. So where did you do that? Where did you use that
I can't
weighted?
remember, but let's say we have like a sample data and then we have two 17s. I will put seven like X, I don't know, X 17 and then Y I will put 2 instead
Yeah,
of
it's not
typing.
a frequency really. Okay, the way this calculator works, it's not a frequency. Y is really, you can use it as a weighted, you can use it for weighted, but you can't use it for frequency. Like you can use it for, like, let me think, because that is
Yeah, like
weighted. What you're
0, like
saying, it is like weighted, but it's not going to calculate the end right. So the answer is going to be wrong, right?
yeah, because that's what happened to me a few times. Like I was getting that wrong just because N was wrong.
I think it's because you're using the wrong thing. Okay, let me see. You know what the answer is going to be for you is that you have to go to second stat. Okay, everybody else ignore what he's talking about. You don't need to know this. He's just doing advanced stuff. Don't worry, okay? But I want to satisfy him. You need to go here. That's going to give you the weight and mean. Did you see what I did?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
You go arrow up. Arrow up will give you the product, and that will be the weight and mean. Then you don't have to worry about the end. Got
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I got it for the weighted mean. Like it makes sense. But then if I'm doing a regular sample, like if we're
Yeah, it's
doing
not meant for that. It's not meant for that. Yeah,
okay, all
it's
right,
not
all
meant for
right.
that.
That's
But that's it. Yeah, no. If you got to get this, you got to get a different formula. Then this would be the formula for the mean. And then to get this, but I appreciate it. I've been teaching this with these calculators for over 20 years, and every like 10 years, some student comes with, "Hey, a revelation for me," and I appreciate it.
of course, of course.
But I'll look at that. But that going up will give you the product um as the weighted mean. That should work. Item.
Yeah, I do have a question in one exercise in model 3. I think it's the practice set. It's the serial exercise. Just trying to make sure. My question is because when I was looking at the results to compare what I was doing, it was only mentioning in group 1 that there was just one gap, and it was from 4.5 to 5.9, but we have a gap from 3.4
Sorry,
to
remind me where
4.
you are. Let's find,
Yes,
where are you?
it's the Model 3 practice set, I think it's called.
Stop share. Let me go share here. Okay. Module 3,
Yep.
practice.
Yeah, it should be at the down. I think it's maybe the second one. It's not the homework.
Okay. This thing?
No, it might be the first one. I'm sorry. I will make sure to add labels
It's okay.
to
I'm
my
putting so
paperwork.
much pressure for you guys. Don't worry, don't worry. You guys, honestly, you can meet with me before the class in a virtual call. I don't mind meeting
Okay,
with you, okay? We can do that after too. You can set it up. Just text me or email me and we can set up
perfect.
a 10-minute call to clarify stuff like that. I don't mind at all.
Okay, so it might be the first one.
Okay, let's see the first one. This one? Oh, okay, yeah, the serial.
Yeah, so it was just mentioning the gap from 4.5 to 5.9. But when I look at the stem and leaf representation, I also see a gap from 3.4 to 4. So I was confused on how do we determine like it's a significant gap to mention it or not?
Okay, let's see. Well, I don't have a picture here, but I know the picture. I don't know where I have it.
It's in the
Notes?
one that doesn't have the solutions, I guess.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
there. Okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
that one.
Okay.
So the answer give us like there's a big gap between 4.5 to 5.9, but then we do not mention the gap from 3.4 to
Yeah,
4.
you can mention that too. I guess I
Okay,
didn't mention it because it's kind of like gaps and outliers. That gap relates to the outliers, right? And these, I mentioned
Okay.
these gaps, right?
Yep.
But not this one.
Let me just double check.
But it's not wrong what you're saying. You could, that's a gap. Let me double check too. Go back here.
Yeah, we have the one from 1 to 1.9, the one from 2.4 to 2.9, and that's where I got confused because we were mentioning the small one in the group 2.
Oh,
Then in the
okay.
group 1, it wasn't mentioned, so I didn't know if there was like a strategy to mention like a significant gap or
Yeah.
not.
It could have been there. There's nothing wrong if I put it there.
Okay.
But because that would have even reinforced that the data is spread out. But I didn't, I guess I just either missed it or I didn't think it was necessary because this is so significantly a gap, you know?
Yep. No,
And this and an outlier. And these ones are worth testing too because they're far.
mhm.
But it ends up that I think in the end I started saying this is symmetric. I think I called that symmetric, right?
Yep. It was symmetric and the other one was right skew.
Yeah, I call it symmetric. Oh, gee, gotta close some things. Yeah. And then this one, I kept option 2 that this could be seen as right
Left
less
skew.
skewed. You could also do that. Probably because if you do this drawing with it's too many things, so busy on the top here. So if you do this drawing, if you make a stem and leaf, not a split stem and leaf, these gaps will disappear, these ones here.
Okay.
And
Got
that
it.
might be also why I didn't mention it. But it's not wrong what you're saying. It's a gap. It's a gap.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any piece of information. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, next, Leanne.
All right. I mean, my question is not about like the things in the module. It's just like this example where you can basically pick two answers, like rescue or symmetric or whatever.
Yeah.
How are you gonna count that in an exam or something like that?
Well, that's why I say, if you write down something, like if you're
Okay.
solving a problem, you send me the papers and say, look, this is how I see it, and I'll consider it. It's very different if you write something and defend your response as opposed to just guessing and then happen to get the right answer. I'm less likely to care about your argument. But if you write something down and you draw it and you like this looks left skewed the way I drew it, use a scale, use graph paper, however, or a ruler, to make it to scale so you can
Okay, makes
compare.
sense.
Oh, well, we're gonna see how this goes. This quiz. Let me make sure. I gotta have to take a pause because I want to make sure I have everything going. Well, you guys can stay there. I'm just gonna go off for a second. Hold on. I'm just verifying the quiz is ready. You guys can take a 10-minute break before I open it. It should open automatically, but I'm just gonna make sure it's as I want. Okay, what I'm going to do is stop this recording, and I'm going to start a new Zoom and start recording again. So you guys, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to end this and then come back to Zoom. You need to be in Zoom to do the quiz. So be sure to be in Zoom. All right. So bye guys for now.
Would it be the same link? Sorry.
Yeah, same link, always the same link.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.